Okay, so in this video, I'll be talking about how we can average a list of numbers, but then using array. So in the last video, we did pretty much the same thing where we didn't use an array. We just added up the numbers and then divided by the total of number of numbers, and we got the average. But in this video, we're going to store every number we're going to read from the list, and we're going to store them in an array and then do the average. So this is basically an introduction to an array using VBA programming. So here's the spreadsheet that I have. I have a list of numbers. Let's say we have them in column A, and I have a header for them. So if you remember from last time, to write the VBA script, you have to click on developer and then go to macro, and then you put some name for your script, which I did already, and then hit create. But because I did already, I just hit edit, because I'm gonna just show you how you can write the script using an array. So I'm going to click on edit. You can, by the way, access this script in Blackboard. So if you go to Blackboard in script tab, then you go to chapter 2. This is example 2.2, I believe, which I can show you from the book. So I'm talking about example 2.2, using an array to calculate the average of numbers. So again, the script is already written for you. It's on Blackboard in the script tab. All right, so I'm going to hit edit, and this is the script that you're going to get if you go to VBA script tab. So we start always with the name of the script. So I'll call it calc average 2, and there's no argument, so I have to put open and close parentheses right here. Okay, so as you remember, everything starting with the single quote is the command line, because so that is, for us, it doesn't have any meaning for the machine. All right, so first we have to declare the type of variables we're going to use. We're going to use an array for the numbers, so I'm going to call it input numbers, and I'm going to have 20 elements in that array, so I just put 20 in the parentheses. These numbers could be real. That means it can have a decimal point, it can have decimal digits, so I put them as double, okay? So dim, as, double, these are keywords you have to repeat exactly. I have other variables. Again, for declaring the variables, you have to start with dim. I have the number, or a number, as double. I have number of numbers as integer, because this is the number of numbers in the list, so they cannot be double. They don't have decimal digit. Well, this number actually doesn't have decimal digit. It has just one integer number. I have the sum of the numbers, which is double. I have the average as double, and I'm assuming a variable for number of, or for the row number as integer. So I call it act row. So again, so I declared my variables. Another variable for the loop that I'm going to use later, I'm going to call it I as integer again. So dim as integer, and then I should be between dim and as. All right, so I'm going to activate my sheet. So here is worksheet activated. And so in other words, you have to basically write it exactly as I have it on this line. So that means I'm going to activate this. The current sheet that is up, it will be going as an active sheet. Okay. So initially I'm going to start with row 2, because the first number is sitting on row 2. So act row is 2. The sum of the numbers initially is 0, because I haven't read any number yet. And the number of numbers that I've read so far is 0, because I haven't read anything yet. Okay. So then we're going to go and pick up the first number. So we're going to go to active sheet and pick up the cell sitting at the address with row equal act row, which is row 2, and then column 1, which is this guy. So we're going to pick this guy up. Okay, so 20 goes into a number. Now we're going to loop over all the numbers. As long as there is a number in this list, we have to go down until we hit blank, or blank cell, which is going to be 0 in VBA. So our while loop starts from while and ends with when, and then the condition we have is, first of all, the number should be bigger than 0, or should be bigger than 0, or basically not 0. Could be negative, by the way. So the number should be different than 0. And then and, so this is a logical condition. So the condition goes into this statement, and it has two pieces, one piece and second piece. And the condition is true as long as both pieces are true. As long as the number is not 0 and the number of numbers less than 20, then I go and read the next number. The number is 20 because I put my array to 20. If the number goes beyond 20, I cannot store it. So this while loop will break. All right, so every time we read a number, we're going to add to the number of numbers. We're going to store the number we read, right? So initially we read it from here. Now we're going to store it. Oops, I'm sorry. We're going to store the number into the corresponding element of the input numbers array. Remember, this is an array, and we're referring to the numbers element of that array. So we store this number to that element in an array. In computer programming, if you forget or if you don't know, equality doesn't mean equality in math. So equality means assignment, means you're assigning a number to a variable. Okay, so it doesn't mean like it's different from, you know, equality in math to say, you know, like x equal to 2 or x equal to 5. As long as the equality means substitution, then it would mean the same thing in math. But if it means you know, logical equality, whether like this is equal to that or not, then in that case we have a different symbol in programming. So anyways, when you see equality in programming, means you have to assign the right side of the equal sign to the left side. Okay, like this one, right? So in math, if you see this is nonsense, because then you would say, hey, actual and actual cancel out because they're two variables on both sides of the equal sign, and then you're left off with 1 equal to 0, which is nonsense, right? So this doesn't mean actual equality. This means assignment. That means you get actual row, you add 1 to it, and then the result will be saved in the actual row again. Okay, the result will be assigned to actual row. Anyway, so you're gonna increase actual by 1 because you read the first number, and then you're gonna read the next number, which is sitting in row 3 now, right? So you're gonna go to the same active sheet, the cell sitting in row 3, column 1. You save it as a row, and then you come back up because you get to the bottom of the while loop, and then you check the condition. If the condition still holds, then you keep going like this until the condition doesn't hold. Then you break. After you break, you have to calculate the sum, right? So initially we put the sum equal to 0, then we go over all the numbers. We know that we have num numbers equal to the total number of numbers that was total number of numbers actually that were read from the list in this loop. So we're going to go over all those numbers again and we sum them up. And the way we sum them up is we say the sum is equal to the current sum plus the current number, right? So this is input numbers element number I. So we're going to read element number I, add it to the sum, we update the sum, and then we increase the index by 1. Then we go and get the next element in input array, and then add it to sum again. So anyways, in this for loop, we calculate the total sum. As long as we have the total sum and the number of numbers bigger than 0, we can divide the sum by the number of numbers. You get the average. We're going to print it out the same way. On a different row, so we increase the number of rows by 1, and then we're going to type average equal to, this is like exact string. We'll go to one line below right here in row 20 because we increase the number of rows by 1, right? So it's going to go into row 20 and will be printed out in this cell, and then the result of the average will go into column B, which is the second column here. So we're saying cell sitting in actual row and column 2 will have the average on the spreadsheet right here. If the number of numbers is 0, then we're going to print out there is no number to get an average. So this is basically this loop. All right, so the code is ready. Now we can go ahead and run it. So we're going to click on this sheet, on this script sheet, and then we go up to the menu right here. I hope you see it. If you don't see it, then there's a menu up there. It says run. You go to that run button and then click on it. Again, you see another menu called run. So you click on that, and then it calculates the average and prints it out right here. That's 55.1. Let's clear this up and run it again. So this time I'm going to clear a couple of numbers up and then go to the code again, click on that, and then go to run and then run. So see that it prints actually the average again, one row below the last number right here in the second column, and the average is this. Now if you don't put anything here, let's put nothing in there, and then go and run the code, you should see that the code puts a message up that there's no number to get an average. I'm going to click on that, I'm going to go to run, and then click run. See, it says no input numbers to average. All right. So this is how we can use the array to get an average of a list of numbers. I hope this is useful. So thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned for the next video on VBA programming.